regards to how the emotions after 3 close losses to get that reward with that performance today?
Yeah, well, it's all about the players really. We put in a lot of hard work over a long period of time, and for a fair period of the first half of the year it wasn't looking like we were making too much ground, but bit of belief, we win a game against West Coast, then we play a terrific game against Collingwood, really good opponent, Melbourne the next week. Be really strong in those contests. We're disappointed with our game against the Dogs last week. We thought we lowered our colours to once again a really good side, but pleasing that Gold Coast played some really good footy last week against the Pies, who obviously the reigning premiers and so highly rated, and we were able to knock them off at a time when they're playing pretty good footy, so that's really pleasing for us.
Clearance is 45-29. Your midfield, how pleased were you with the work today, Alistair?
Yeah, it wasn't so much that we challenged our midfield, but they probably challenged themselves more than anything. We weren't comprehensively beaten last week in the midfield, but the Dogs certainly forced us to lower our colours in that space, and we quite open going into the game, saying that if the Gold Coast side got in top in the middle of the ground, it'd be so much harder, and our guys got to work in that space, and to win the clearances by that amount was a real credit to them. They bounce off half back just so well, the Gold Coast side. They got 3 or 4 guys that are really capable defenders, especially aerially. And it made it really tough for us, even despite winning the clearances by that margin. All of Dimmer's sides, whether it was Richmond or Gold Coast, they've always been really good at bouncing off half back off stoppage, and despite us winning the clearances, it didn't always mean that it was going to stay in our front half, because they bounced so well from those. But close, tight, tough contest from go to woe. Really, I think 2 goals pretty much split the 2 sides for pretty much the whole of the game, except a brief moment when we got 3 in front in the third quarter. But it was a tough, hard contest. We started really well. They got on top in the last 15 minutes of the first quarter. Then we got on top, and so it was it swung in momentum from one side to the other at different stages. But they're such a dangerous side, really talented with their ball use, and we're just pleased we were able to keep them to the 12 goals and kick enough for us to just be in front at the end.
It was noticeable that there was not a backward step taken by your side. If there was a physical confrontation, guys were coming in and they not flying the flag, but there was we might be bottom, but we're here for the challenge. Is that deliberate, or is that just a development of a young side that's starting to get a bit of self-belief in it?
Yeah, probably a combination of both. Gold Coast are a side that I think they're number one in the competition for metres gained from handball. So they'll take the ball forward by hand really quickly, and if you're not applying pressure from the back end to those over the top handballs, then they'll just slice through you. So I thought we weren't perfect in that space, but that's what had us in a lot of the contests and made the Gold Coast side rush a fair bit. 62 inside 50 entries for them to only score 12 goals. They'd be disappointed with that, but I thought that our pressure on the Gold Coast ball carrier forced them into some error with the ball, and they couldn't find their targets. Like Ben King can be a really dangerous forward, for instance, if the Gold Coast side can find him lace out with some of their kicks, but he was unable to get into the contest anywhere near as much as he usually can because of our pressure.
It's your first home win since round 1 last year. How big is it for the Kangas this week?
Yeah, well, I think it's big for our fans. We won a couple of games on the road, but it's been a long time between drinks for our Melbourne-based supporters, and that's the bulk of them. So I'm just pleased that they'd be able to be here on some of these little milestones along the way. I think that all our supporters and hopefully the wider footy community know that the journey we're on, and it's been tough at various stages, but when they can say they were there the day when it looked like the Kangaroos are starting to turn the corner and be competitive. It's 5 games in a row where we've been right in the contest. We've got a big game against Sydney next week in Sydney, so that'll be a real test for us to see just how much improvement we've made since the bye. But I think there was 17,000 or thereabouts at the game today. They'll all have a pretty special memory of watching us win a game of footy.
What about Luke Davies-Uniacke's poise in that chaotic last quarter?
Yeah, he was really important all day for us, really. But his last quarter was superb, and just a real shame he didn't snag that goal. I reckon it would have gone down in the archives as one of the greatest goals of all time had he kicked that. But unfortunately, just one side of the post. But he was a pretty special contributor for us. When you think of the quality of the Gold Coast midfield, I'm not sure what happened to Miller. He went out of the game through the third quarter, so we rate him really highly as a player. So him going out of the game helped us a little bit, but our guys overall, I thought, acquitted themselves really well in the middle of the ground and helped us win. Not convincingly, I might add, but we'll take any win we can get at the current time, and get ourselves ready for Sydney next week with just a little bit more spring in our step, having got the win.
It's getting important, isn't it? Like, you go up there, you'll be rank outsiders, but you can take the game up to them now. Like, there's a feeling that you can, challenge them in some way.
We've played.
Been a month ago, right?
Yeah, we've played some really good sides through the bye, and we've been in contests, and it's so hard, you throw outside of Sydney, who are on top by a couple of games, but you throw a blanket over, 12 or 13 sides that between second on the ladder, and so drop a couple of games and you're in a bit of strife, and win a couple on the trot, and you get yourself up to top 4 chance. So a lot of the sides, I think, in fact, outside of West Coast, I think the other 4 sides have all been in that bracket of those sides that are competing to finish really, really highly in the 8, and Gold Coast are one of those. They'd be disappointed that they didn't get the win on the road that they're searching for, but they're a very, very good side, and as we see, they're very, very hard to beat up there too. So they're going to be right in the mix at the end of the year, and we're really pleased that we're able to serve it up to them today. But the big challenge will be to see whether we can be consistent enough to hang in the game long enough against the Sydney Swans. They're obviously a highly polished outfit, and we'll need to play some of our best footy.
Sheasel and McKercher had pretty big days. How did you see their performances?
Yeah, a little bit like what we were saying with the North supporters that came to the game and just got a glimpse of the future of our footy club. George will probably be back available for us next week after missing a couple of games with that concussion. So it's pleasing that that some of these guys are starting to play some consistent footy, and we've really missed him over the last 6 weeks. As we saw when he did that scintillating run down the outer wing, I think he took 3 or 4 bounces and then found Nick Larkey for the shot at goal. So they're special young players. But the Powers and the Curtises and these sort of guys that have been around our footy club for 3 or 4 years, they're starting to play some consistent footy as well, as you'd expect them to, as they get to sort of 50, 60 games of footy, and they're just as important as the ones that have only been at our club for 1 or 2 years.
Tom Powell's torpedo in the first quarter, was that something that was talked about at all pre-game, or was that an instinct play?
Well, I saw him practicing a couple of torps at training during the week, but from set shots, I was thinking save them for an after the siren win, because he nailed a couple, but I didn't expect he was going to pull that one out on the run through the middle of the ground. So, but we want to encourage our players to just to play the game that's in front of him, and just as importantly, he hit an inside kick in the last quarter that opened up the game for a Teakle goal as well. That's the sort of progress that he and those other guys like Comben and those sorts of guys that have been around a little while now are starting to make, and hopefully all our supporters and the wider footy world can see some of these guys emerging for us.
Any injuries for you?
No, all okay for us. Yeah, clean deck. Good on, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.